Welcome everybody from the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you here today with us. Once again, we're continuing to explore the urban parking system repository that we've built and designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. My name's Scott Hebbard. I'm joined today by Stephen Maguire, and we're having a look at how you can get some information out of Enterprise Architect. And today in particular, we're looking at the report builder to take elements of a package and a diagram and being able to publish that using the report builder. So welcome, Stephen. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Scott, and thank you for the introduction. As always, delighted to be here talking about how Enterprise Architect can help you be more productive with your projects. So yes, we are going to be talking about the publication of documents. I just want to remind people that there are other ways to make information available to people to disseminate, and that is through the web. It's a universal way now, or ubiquitous way for people to ingest information. So we have two tools, Prolaborate and WebEA, that are both web-based tools that allow you to publish your information in a web portal. So there are circumstances, though, that require information to be generated into documents, such as contractual regulations or internal policies. So let's get into this topic. I have been doing some mind mapping earlier today, and as always, I want to look at my perspective. So I'm going to change the perspective there to publishing, to show you what's available through that perspective. And if you see, Enterprise Architect changes its focus, and there are lots of patterns in here that will allow you to quickly build publications. So all sorts of things, data dictionaries, concept of operation, system requirement specifications. Scott, as always, I like to do things from first principles to show people how things work from the jump. So I'm going to close this, but I encourage people, once they've seen how to work with documentation, to return to this and automatically inject models into their repository and get the productivity gains. So I'll close the builder now, and I'm going to also change my perspective to UML, because I want to concentrate on some UML artifacts today. So what we're going to do is we're looking at the publish ribbon. So if you look across there, the publish ribbon is the second one from the right-hand side, and there are a number of panels there: model reports, diagram images, and model exchange. We're going to be looking at model reports, in particular the report builder. So let's open that up, and there are a number of options there again, but let's just go for the generic generate documentation. So here we have this dialog box, and you see on the left-hand side there are a number of different options down here, and as I choose one of these options, the panel will change and allow me to do different things. The top item in that left-hand panel is the generate one, and that's the one you'll spend most of your time focusing on. So let's have a look. We've got the requirements model selected. I want to change that now, and I want to change it to the information model, actually to the structural models and the class model. So I'm going to select class model there and go OK. And you can see now that that's been selected in the browser and opened up for me. The next thing I need to do is to find a document that I'm going to save it to. So I'll just bring that. That's jumped up on another monitor. I'll just drag that across, and we'll have a look at that. So I've got these publications package here, and it's not requirements. That's just defaulted to that. It's not the requirements model. It's going to be I'm going to call it a domain model, because these are the important things in the domain. So
I see it's outputting as a PDF file. Are there other options as well?
Yeah, Scott, there's two other options. There's the RTF and the docx options there. So I could produce a docx, a PDF, or an RTF, and the RTF obviously could be imported into all sorts of other word processing tools other than Microsoft's.
So if your company was much more Microsoft centric and wanted a Word document, you've got that option as well.
Absolutely, and then you've got the opportunity for people to edit it afterwards. Let's just leave it as the PDF with the knowledge that we can do that. Let's save that into our publications. We've got that done there. We've got a number of different options here. The big one that I want to talk about is the template. That's the thing that's driving the kind of look and feel of how the information in the repository is going to get rendered. So the big picture, Scott, is that we're creating a document that's pulling information from the repository and formatting it into this PDF, or as you say, Word document. And the template is determining, it's a template for how, specification for how that information is going to be rendered, from styles to the type of content that's going to be there. So let's have a look at that cover page, portrait with image, table of contents. We can also apply style sheet, but let's not worry about that at the moment. Diagram themes. Let's just generate this document and have a look without choosing any of these other options. So we'll go hit generate there, and Enterprise Architect is doing the work. There are a number of different elements and attributes and things in there. And let's have a look at the output once it's generated. The progress meters there showing you what elements it's up to as it works through.
So it's doing a lot of work under the hood there to generate everything out.
Yeah, it's probably saving you, 10 hours of work just in those few short seconds. Let's view that document. And again, it's popped up on my other monitor. So let's just drag that one across onto this screen. And now you can see it's a model report, class model, and I'll just use my mouse wheel to move that up a little bit. And you can see there's a table of contents there, and there's our class diagram, a number of other diagrams, and you can see there's lots of detail about the elements as well. So the model template is what's driving that content being represented there. So let's go back now. We'll close that, and we'll have a look at our model. So there are all sorts of things here that we can do. Exclude filters. If we have other elements inside our repository that we don't want put into our report, we can do that. Element filters. So I can add a filter there and say, look, I don't want particular things in the repository. So I don't want things by a particular author, or I don't want things that have a particular difficulty. We'll come back and look at that in just a minute. Other filters. There are other things here we can filter for attributes and things, but we'll come back and look at those. What I'm going to do now, Scott, is I'm going to close this editor, and I'm going to introduce you to the topic of templates. So Enterprise Architect has a large number of available templates, and we can see these in the resources window over here, and we can look at all sorts of templates for this. So lots and lots of different templates that do various things in the tool. But let's go back now and look at creating our own template. So this is one of the great powers of the tool, is that you're not just restricted to the quite vast number of templates that Enterprise Architect produces, but you're allowed and you can create your own templates. So let's do something quite quickly here, and let's go template editor, and let's do a very rough view so people can see what's happening here. And we'll do a rough template. What I do on the left-hand side is it's giving me not the list of things that's in my repository, but the structure, that the containers that these things are in. So, elements are contained in packages. Elements.
So what are the little yellow things in brackets on the right-hand side?
Yeah, great question, Scott. Those are, think about them like if you're familiar with HTML and tags or XML, they're kind of like tags. If you see that they're kind of paired, not exactly the same format as a tag, but we've got a package opening tag there and a closing one. Then in between that, we've got child packages and an open tag and a closing tag. So if I look at, I'm going to click on another one of these, and you can see what's going to happen. Click on element there, and you can see that element goes inside package, and it's again got a opening tag, and we've got child elements with an opening and closing tag and elements there. So Enterprise Architect is doing that work of managing the relationship between those. Let's just do something incredibly simple, and let's just say I want to put in some text. So this things in the square brackets here is just boilerplate text to allow you to get a start. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to insert a field, and I'm just going to say it's the name. So this gives me the list of properties that belong to a package. So all the things that packages can have. So they can have, aliases and authors, but I'm particularly interested in the name. So I'll put the name in there. Yeah. And I'm also interested in elements. So I'm going to delete that boilerplate text, open that up again, right mouse click, insert field, and let's just say I'm interested in name, and I can
see curly brackets are being used there. So is that how EA represents those particular attributes?
Yeah, that's right. It's a marker for and a visual cue to the template builder that this is information that's coming from the repository. Yeah. So that's all very good. Let's just save that now. So I'll click save. Notice that the ribbon has changed, and up here we've got a document title and an edit ribbon that's just popped up. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call it elements. And let's just save that. Let's just put it into that template group. And let's put element details. That will do. And let's go OK to that. And now we've got that saved. If we go across to our resources window, we'll see that it's available throughout the custom templates. So we've got system templates, and then we've got custom templates, and that's there. And I've got the opportunity to rename it, to open it, and to copy it. So in a more elaborate template, I might be able to copy an existing one and refashion it. So let's now go back. We'll close this template editor. Warning of unsaved changes. Let me save that again. And let's go back to our report builder. Now, the dialog pops up. We're familiar with that now. We're going to create the publication. Let's just overwrite the existing document. Now we've got the opportunity looking at the templates here. So let's have a look at that, and let's look through these templates. So we've got create a new template, and at the top there, custom templates is the elements detailed one that we just created. And remember, you have all these other templates here that you can choose from.
So there's a whole lot of pre-built ones that Enterprise Architect provides, but you can create your own custom ones as well.
Yeah, and look, for someone that's doing sort of serious documentation as part of some sort of, contractual compliance, then you probably will be building your own template. But that's not, you're not necessarily starting from scratch, because you might look through the other templates and be able to copy some of the...
I was going to say, can you copy and paste from the various templates to build your own?
Yeah, that's right, Scott. You can just copy a whole template and then work on it, massage it into the shape that you want it. Let's choose element details there, and let's just leave everything the same and hit generate. Now that will happen a lot more quickly because there's not as much work being done. Let's view on that, and let's see what's popped up. It's popped up on my other monitor again. Let's just drag that over to this monitor, and let's have a look at what we've got here. Remember, we did this incredibly quickly, so I'm not expecting anything but a very, very rough look, and that's what we're going to talk about. So there's the document, and you can see that it has done exactly what we said, but we didn't put it in any format. So you can see its class model was the name of the package, and then motorist, and then, we've got some notes. But look how kind of jumbled up it is, right? It's all packed in and close. So what I wanted to do was just to show you that as the basic sort of...
So is it possible to add white space and headings and make things bold?
Exactly, Scott. So I just wanted to show you the mechanism about how you go about this. So let's just go back now and look at our editor and, do a couple of things, and we'll get it, working much more, a much better looking outcome. So here was my template, element details. I'm going to rename this now, and I'm going to call it, that's just popped up on my other monitor there. So I'll just drag that across again. I'm going to call it elements and attributes. So I want to look at the elements and the attributes. The kind of business case is that someone's wanted to get detail about, some of the properties of these elements. So I'll call it that, and now I'm just going to edit it. So let's go in here and say open it. It comes up again. We're familiar with that. Now what I want to do, Scott, is I want to make this thing a lot more beautiful. So I'm going to disregard all of these things in here because they were just not things that I was particularly interested in. What I'm going to do now is the document will look good if it's got my corporate logos, my corporate styles and everything for the urban parking meter thing. So I want to actually import a template from there. So clicking in here, I can choose a file and say import file. And again, let's just put that on another monitor and let's do that. And let's have a look at what we can do here. So I'm going to choose a file called business context, and you can't see that on this monitor. I've got it on another monitor, but let's have a look at that. I'm just organizing that in the other monitor. Okay, so we're going to choose business context, and now you see that that's dragged in. So that was an RTF document that I use for the urban parking meter system, and you can see that it's got a logo in there, it's got a title there, it's got some revision history, release notes, etc., etc., etc. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the process of creating the template again. So let's just put a page break in here. I'm hitting the Control Enter key there. I've got a new page. Now I want to actually put my content in, and I'm going to do this much more thoroughly than what I did before to make it into a much nicer looking document. So let's do that same thing. Let's say we want the package element there. We'll expand that and say we want the package element, and let's just do this going along here. We'll delete that there and we'll insert again field name. And this time, Scott, let's do some formatting. Let's change that there and let's look at the formatting, and let's say it's I think we'll go for heading 1. Let's have a look at that. It's quite large, but I think we might go down to heading 2. So we'll go down 1 level. Now these styles are all coming from the document that we imported. So that's incredibly useful because I can just import a template. Most organizations have those templates in their favorite word processing thing as a as a template document. So let's do some other things here. I'm not going to use this package element, but I'm going to put in the element, and let's do that. So we've got our element there. And again, this boilerplate text goes in there. I'm not interested in it. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to put in the insert field name, and let's put in some notes as well. We did that last time, so let's do that. Insert field, we'll put some notes in. Let's change the heading style of element, the name, and we'll go up to our editor here, and we'll choose heading 3 for that. So that's gone in there as element name. You can see a little bit of spaces there, but what I need to do is make a little bit of space behind that element, and I'm going to now put in. Well, let's actually save that, and let's see what will happen now when we do that. So we'll save that, and we might put in just a little bit more space there. We'll see how that works out. So we'll save that template, and let's now go back and generate our class model out again, and choose this again. Now let's say we want to produce the same document, and the template now is elements and attributes, so that's been updated.
We changed that name, yes.
Yep, and let's generate that out, and then again let's press the view button and see what it's done. So I'll just drag that onto the screen, and let's have a look. What I do here, I chose a cover page. I'm just going to say none for that actually and regenerate it, because in a table of contents I'll say none to that as well, just for the moment, and generate again. So a few different options there that you can flick, and I'll just close that. I'm just going to hit the generate button again. That's that document on the other screen, and I'll hit view there, and let's have a look at our document. I'll drag that onto this screen here, and you can see now that this is generated. We've got all those signatories that we have.
The logo and
Yeah. Now you can see we've made a start. You were talking about white space, Scott. We've put some white space in there. We've got our, we've got our model elements showing up in that text for heading 3, and on it goes. So we've made a start, and it's relatively easy to continue with that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to perform some of your magic, your time travel magic, and we'll finish some things off. But just before you do that, let's just have a quick chat about this template. The other thing I can do here is I can just put in text. So I can just add, text here and put that in, and I can, do anything I want with that text, like, change the style of that in unison with that. I'll choose a heading 4 because it's going down there. Actually, let's just leave that for the moment, and we'll leave it at that one. And we can insert a table as well. So I can say, look, I'm going to put a table in for my attributes. Let's just do that quickly. And, we can then, do some things. Now, I would need to, before I put that table in, I would need to add the attributes for the inside the element. So I'm going to do that first, and then once I've got that in there, I can then, adjust that. So that's just a little tip for people. Just wanted to show you how that works. So I can delete that, and then I can put my table inside that, and that will give me access to the right information. So in here, again, I can say insert field, and notice that it comes up with all the things to do with attributes, right? Foreign keys and data types and all that kind of thing. So with that said, Scott, I'm going to get you to do some of your time travel magic, and we'll see if we can't finish this off.
Welcome back, Stephen. I've done a bit of time traveling and editing magic, and now we have our completed report builder example on screen. So perhaps you can tell us what we're doing with the attributes and the names and the package names, and how we've formatted them.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. We have done a little bit of work on it, and remember, this is just the first, the first attempt to make this look a little bit more interesting and well styled. So what I've done is I've inserted that table, and again, I can right mouse click on here, as we saw, and insert a field, and that comes in as that grey text with the curly braces on it. Now, the spacing is important here. I've left some spaces so that the document can be formatted. You saw that when we first did our really rough go at creating this, just getting the content out, and you saw how everything was crammed up without spaces. So the spaces are important. We've got the package name, and then we've got the element name, and then the attributes. And the attributes here, this table there's a little bit of magic going on in here, Scott. When the table's there, and when I've got these types in here, Enterprise Architect will traverse the attribute list and the collection, and push out all of the attributes that belong to a particular element. So if there's one of them,
one element has 4 attributes and the next has 6. Will the first table have 4 bits, and then the next table have 6 rows?
That's right, Scott. And what better way to look at it than us just to go and generate this and see.
All right.
So I'm going to close this now, and we'll go back to our report builder. We're familiar with that now. Pops up there. Let's leave all these things as they are and hit the generate button, and let's go and view that now and see,
it's very quick.
Yeah, well, it's not doing that much work, but it is doing quite a bit of work. So there's our information that's come out. We've still got our document header up here, and we can format that much better and put some other things in there. But we're not concentrating that at the moment. You can see that we can put logos on, logos in there. We can put text, add our own text, and all this information is being generated out of the repository. So quite powerful there. And if we look at some of these, the parking meter, it's got attributes, it's got a meter ID, a meter type, an automation level. There's the display, the attributes are coming out, and we can see that some of them are public, some of them are private, and as you said, depending upon the number of attributes, the table changes. So that's a bit of a look at that, Scott. There's just one other thing that I wanted to show you with that. I'll just drag that off the screen for a minute, and back to this here. If we look at some of our elements, you'll see that over in the properties window, if I just bring my properties window back up, and I think I've dragged that onto this other panel here, and that's very easily done. I can just drag that over, change my workspace layout. I think I might get my traceability into that group as well. Let's just drop that in there. So very flexible how we can work with this. And let's look at the properties, and let's look in particular, look at the author. So who's the author of all of these elements? So Jenny Kitabashi was for that one, parking meter there. Jenny was doing that. I did the display. So let's go back into our report builder and look at a couple of different ways that we can tailor the information that's coming out. So we have these exclude filters, element filters, other filters. Yeah, so I'm going to choose the element filters there, and I'm going to say an add filter. And we have a whole list of things that we can filter on. Let's just filter on author for the moment. And let's say that the author is equal to myself, Stephen Maguire.
Yep.
So let's do that and go OK to that. And you can see now that that's going to filter there. So let's now go back to our generate option there and say generate. And let's view that. And we'll see that what we've got is a much shorter list of elements. So let's just look at that. And the only one that I appear to have actually done is the display one, which we looked at. So you can see
that's
there
much
now,
shorter, yes.
yeah, well, very much shorter. And obviously I haven't been doing enough work because Jenny's been the one that's been doing this, but she's the business analyst. She's working in that domain, so we can see that.
So you did it on the author, but perhaps you could do the same thing to only print out high priority requirements, or
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly, Scott. And you know, we can look at those filters. We can remove that filter if we like, and let's select that first and then remove that filter. Yes, I want to get rid of it. Other filters here, I can put in another filter here, and I can say on the attribute, I want only when the data type is equal to, say, an int, for example.
Yeah.
So let's do that one again, and let's have a quick look at what happens. The filter's been saved. Again, I'll go back to my generate option. Don't need to change anything. It's all ready to go. Hit generate, and let's hit view again. And, you know, we'll see that there's...
So you could generate out 10 or 15 custom reports based on different priorities, and it looks like you've done weeks of work, but secretly you've just done it in a few minutes in EA.
Yeah, that's right, Scott. So look, there is a huge amount of capability in this. This video is correctly titled an introduction to, you know, publications or report generation, because it is, we really have just scratched the surface of a very, very big topic, and that will be covered in later videos. But just to give the audience a taste of what's possible. And I'd also just like to say that, you know, in practice, I've used this engine, this reporting engine, to produce some incredibly sophisticated documents that can almost completely match the requirements of a, you know, contract, right down to the styles, to the, you know, the page numbers and everything. So all of that's possible. There's an immense amount of functionality there for you to use. So that's it for this topic, Scott, but we'll come back to it and revisit it in a future video.
Thanks, Stephen. You've certainly demonstrated how powerful Enterprise Architect is for report generation, and definitely how flexible it can be with creating custom styles and being able to filter and limit what gets presented and published. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
As always, to our audience that have been watching today, we really appreciate your time, and we love that you have joined us today. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to like the video, comment and subscribe to Sparx Systems YouTube channel. If you have any questions about report documentation or generation in Enterprise Architect, please feel free to reach out to Stephen using his LinkedIn credentials below, or alternatively via his website. So as always, it's been great to see Enterprise Architect in action. Appreciate your time and effort, Stephen. Great to have you on board, and thanks for your hard work today.
Always a pleasure, Scott.